How are you guys? And today's day, we are just going to be talking about Mozilla SOPS, which is the secrets operation, which is an open source tool that helps manage secrets, encryption, and decryption in a secure and automated way. It enables teams to store and share sensitive data, such as passwords, API keys, and certificates, without exposing them in plain text. SOAP supports various encryption formats and integrates with popular cloud platforms and version control systems. And at the same time, I'm going to be installing a cluster. I'm going to be using Kind. And also, I'm going to be using Flux to be able to install it. And I'm just going to go through all the different resources that we have to generate and everything that needs to be created to make it happen. But basically, Flux is a popular open source tool for implementing GitOps and a software delivery model that uses Git as a single source of truth for infrastructure and application deployments. Flux automate the deployment process by continuously monitoring the Git repository for changes and applying them to the cluster. It supports a wide range of Kubernetes resource types, including Helm charts, and can be extended with custom controllers and plugins. And Flux can improve the reliability, scalability, and actually auditability and for cloud native applications and infrastructure. Basically, Flux is kind of like the better version of Helm, but it's also something that you can use with Helm. So it's kind of like it's a cool tool that you can use to be able to communicate in between the GitHub repository and your Kubernetes cluster. So let's start it. So just for anyone that is beginning with this type of topic, we are just gonna install the cluster, and the first thing that we have to type is just brew install kind. And of course, every single installation is going to take a little bit longer depending on your internet connection. It's just going to happen immediately, or it can happen in a little bit. So basically, we just have to make sure that we run our cluster first. And the first command to create a cluster, I'm just going to say kind create cluster. And what is going to happen is that it's just going to be communicating with Docker in the backend, just to make sure that it's just going to enter my control plane. And my control plane is just going to be kind of like my container. And with that cluster, we can start doing anything that we want. So this is, of course, this again, every single time that you install something, it depends on the internet connectivity that you have, and also how fast your computer can take things. So I hope this is gonna be faster, but if no, just excuse me for a little bit while this is just doing it. In the meantime, one thing that you will need is you're gonna need to go to your GitHub profile, and you're gonna have to get a token. Basically, to get a token, you go to settings, you go to developer settings, you go to personal access tokens, and I'm just gonna grab one from here, and just to make sure that I don't have to run another command, or that I'm just gonna be deleting this one. So this one I can use it. So it's gonna ask me for my security, for my double authentication. So let me just do it. So it should give me that one. So this one I'm not using it anymore, but I'm just gonna use it for this tutorial. For now, I'm just gonna generate the token, and since this token is gonna be deleted, so I don't mind sharing it on the video. So just in case that someone else wants to do something crazy, but I'm just gonna be deleting it after we finish with this tutorial. Okay, it seems that it finished. And now one of the things that we have to do to make sure that it's gonna work, we are just gonna do export, and I'm just gonna do GitHub user. Just gonna do export GitHub. It's gonna be GitHub. I'm just gonna do it as a GitHub token. Token. So it's just gonna give me the new token. I export the token. So now I just need to find my configure file for my GitHub. So basically I just have it in here, no such a directory. So let's just create it. So I'm just gonna be creating the folder. So I'm just gonna go to my configure file. And here I'm just gonna do ls fish flutter. So here I'm just gonna do macadamia. Just gonna do hash for GitHub. And inside of here, just gonna do cd gh. I'm just gonna create a folder for my path for Flux. And basically I'm just gonna say I'm gonna call it Flex Bootstrap demo for my demo. I do it, and just in case that I need it, so I'm just gonna go to Flex. I think I need the whole padding here, but one thing that I'm gonna need, basically what I'm just gonna do, what I'm gonna do in here, I'm just gonna run the Flux Bootstrap GitHub command that I need to do to be able to create my information, my repo inside of my GitHub account. So basically I'm just gonna do h3 address. I'm just gonna call it Flux Playground, but since I already did one with this, no, I didn't call it Playground, but it's fine. I can define my branch, which is gonna be main, my path, which is gonna be cluster, and I'm just gonna call it kind 0. Since just in case, I'm just gonna call it kind 1. Just gonna do it personal, and I'm just gonna do it private in a private way. So as soon as it's private, it should connect to my GitHub account. Now we just this will take 1 to maybe 3 minutes to be able to install. And basically what it's gonna do is just gonna create a repository. So I can go check my repositories, and it seems that it's already created. So this is kind of cool because it's just gonna create it with the specifications that I want, and the folders and everything that I need inside of here. Inside of here, you're gonna see 3 different components, which is 3 different YAML files, which is part of the Flux installation, which is part of the manifest. So let me go back in here. So let's just clear this. And now that it's clear, let's just clone my repository. Basically, I'm just gonna do git clone and just gonna add my username in here. Just gonna click enter. So it seems that I already created. Just gonna click in here. Fine. And I'm just gonna be looking for SOPS, Flux, playground. Yeah. Oh, just gonna do this. Wherever it is located. One. I'm gonna delete this. I'm just gonna go cd. Just gonna go back to my directory. And I have a folder for this, so I should be getting in documents, cd, documents. I have it in the development folder, I believe. I have it in here, so in here I'm just gonna clone it in here. Cd, just gonna open it. At the time that I have it in here, you're gonna be able to see that we have set up my folder structure, which is cluster, kind1, Flux as server. And in here, this is the document that is most important for us. We don't care about anything else at the moment. So the best way to do it in here is just the only thing that we want is just to make sure that we modify this file and that we add the way to be able to decrypt the file. So to be able to do that, we have to make sure that we do it on the spec. In here in the spec, it's just gonna be, we are just gonna call it decryption. Then we are just gonna call it provider, which is gonna be SOPS. And then we are just gonna call it secret reference, secret ref. Then we are just gonna do a name. And in the name, we just have to do SOPS, GPG. This is a name that you can just call it whatever you want it. Just save the file. And make sure we have SOPS installed as well, because this is, of course, it's gonna be important. So to make sure that we have this installed, one thing that I care too much about it is, I'm clearing here. This doesn't matter. Then I'm just gonna do brew install, and I'm just gonna do GNUPG and subs. So let's see. So now it's downloading everything. So you should be getting ready. Let's take away the notifications. Basically, it's just installing all the different dependencies, which is pulling a lot of dependencies, which is crazy to think about how many dependencies you have to use to build a piece of software, but that's what it is. Okay, so now that it's done from the documentation, we have to create we are gonna create the key, and what I'm gonna be using is the following command. This command is part of the documentation. I'm gonna be posting the documentation as well to make sure that you get the information right. And I'm just gonna call it kind1 just to match up with the name of the folder that I have on my repo. And at the time that I'm done, I'm just gonna click enter. And basically what it's telling you here is that now one certificate is being stored, and the best way to be able to see this the key or the list of the keys that you have created. So we can have gpg, and we are just gonna do list secret keys. And now, as you can see, this is how it's gonna be you're gonna be able to see the information from the key. So this is the important part that you need. So at any time that you need to pull up the secret, this is basically the ID that you will need to seal the secret, right? So now that we have the view, what I want to do is I'm just going to export the secret. And what I want to do at the time that I'm exporting the secret, I want to make sure that I install the secret inside of the Kubernetes cluster. And one of the things that I'm just going to be doing is I'm just going to be running one of the following commands, which is going to be vpg dash export secret keys. Gonna need the ID that is gonna reference the key, which is gonna be, to be able to reference, I'm just gonna be able to say armor. I'm just gonna grab this ID, just gonna grab it. Then let me see if I can move this. Yeah, it seems that I can move it, so I'm just gonna move it here so you can see. So now we are gonna do pipe, and I'm just gonna do kubectl create secret generic. Call it inside. I'm just gonna install it inside of my namespace, which is gonna be Flux system. I'm just gonna do from file. In the file, I'm just gonna be calling it SOPS ASC, which is gonna be, I'm just gonna be able to do it in the dev stdin, and I'm in here. In here we will need the name of whatever I name it in here. So I'm just gonna be grabbing this name. Just gonna go back to my terminal. Just gonna run. Let's see the command. we made a mistake on the command. Instead of P, I did a no. So now just gonna go here. SOPS, and maybe it's because I already created, but it's just gonna have to be the same name. So just to make sure that it's gonna be the same name, maybe it's just referencing to the same name. Just gonna do 01. Just gonna go back in here. Since it's telling me that it already exists, I'm just gonna call it here the same. Now it's gonna tell me that it's created. And of course, this is just gonna be my secret. But this secret that we pull in here is basically my private key, right? So now we need to view the public key, and to view the public key, I will need to export it. Well, I will export and move it into my repo. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna export my public key, and I'm just gonna move it to inside of my repository. Okay. Let's rewind a little bit because I got confused for a little bit with reading the documentation. Basically, what this key means, it is mean that this is the public key. This is not the private key, because of course the private key is just gonna be something that is being created, and it's just gonna send it to in the back of in the back of your computer, just to make sure that it's just being saved and that no one else is gonna be able to see it. So this is basically my public key, and the public key is the one that needs to be installed on the cluster to make sure that it's just gonna be able to read whatever information needs to read. So from there, what I have to do, I have to export the public key and move it into my repo to make sure that both are in the same place. And I can just do that because I don't even have a risk to be able to say like, oh, anyone else is going to be able to see my public key, because the public key doesn't matter. What it matters is the private key. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do gpg. Just going to do export. I'm just going to do export. Just going to do armor. Basically, I'm just gonna copy this. I'm gonna paste it in here, and I'm just gonna say, okay, now go save it inside of my cluster. So since the name of my repo, I'm inside of my repo. So one thing that I can do is just gonna be clusters, which is the next folder that I have, then kind1, then Flux system. And then I'm just gonna call the file SOPS. Just gonna call it public ASC. And now we should be able to go here, and we should be able to see the key. As you can see in here, this is just gonna be my public key, but it's just gonna be able to grab it and to be able to grab it together to make sure that this public key is just gonna be able to set up properly and be able to communicate with the cluster itself. So nice and done. And of course, if you are being located in a different pad in your terminal, so you have to make sure that you're in the right pad to make sure that you can copy and paste the same information in here. Now we have to commit our repo. So we have to do git add, git commit. Now I'm just gonna do adding secrets into my repo. So now, as you can see, everything is in here. I'm just gonna do git push. Now everything should be ready from my repo. So now one of the best things to do is we'll have to reconcile our resource. So the command that we have to use is gonna be flux reconcile source get, and we are just gonna do flux system, which is gonna be the same name from the namespace from the cluster. So now if I do that, it's just gonna take a little bit. So now that it's there, now one way to be able to see if anything is being set up inside of the cluster, I'm just gonna do kubectl describe customizations, customize toolkit, flux.cd.io. We do -a. Now, as you can see, everything is being deployed into the cluster as well. So basically, all of this is the information from the cluster itself and all the information that we have from the cluster. So we have the name of the space, we have the labels, and we have all the rest of the information that is there. So, and to confirm that we add the information from the repository, which is going to be in here, and if we want to see if we can print the name of the secret, one thing that we are going to do is we are just going to basically run the same command, but we are just going to call it rep, going to call it SOPS. And in here, you're going to be able to see that the Kubernetes cluster is just going to be able to see this information. So basically, this is one way to install the secrets. And maybe for the next video, we can do a video where we can learn how to rotate the secrets and how to rotate them with maybe Azure Kibble, which is going to be interesting because you can use Azure Kibble. And I know maybe it's an extra concept, but basically Mozilla SOPS is just going to help you to have everything, all of the secrets. And the nice thing about it is that you can even push your code to your repository, and you can have the secret, but the secret is not gonna look it's just gonna show you the format, but it's not gonna show you whatever information is there. So whatever I'm posting in here is whatever you're gonna see in here. So anything in here is gonna be changed. So basically, I just add this information in here, and this is the same information that you're gonna be able to see on my repo. But basically, all my secrets are gonna be safe, and at the time that you're gonna see it, this is the way that you can add the reference for the secrets as well. So I'm my provider and the name of my secret, the reference, right? So basically, in here, now you have a way to do more stuff with SOAPs, but this is basically how you install it inside of the Kubernetes cluster. And if you want to check any other information in the cluster, we can do K9S. Basically, we can see that on my cluster, we have Flux system, and we have the Helm controller, the notification, source controller, the DNS, and we have all the different configurations in there. But what we care about is specifically this namespace. So by this namespace, we can just take a look at that specific namespace, and we can see that it's running. So the Helm controller is basically being installed, and everything is running in here. And let's see, and now that everything is here, so you can I have also kubectl, and I can see get notes. Let's see, we have only one control plane, and basically my content, everything is running. So we can take a look at my services as well. Get services, Basically, my cluster is running. So this is just a way to verify that everything is okay with the cluster itself. And maybe these commands should be running at the beginning, just to make sure that you pay attention if the cluster is running or if it's something else is happening. But basically, I just show you how to install kind, how to create the cluster, how to export the keys, the username and the key, and I show you how to configure, how to install Flex, and how to basically use SOAPs. So thank you so much and have a wonderful day.